The Maoris used the leaves of the harakehe for many domestic purposes. The dried leaves made floor mats, baskets and plates, and when they were stripped with a mussel shell, the tough fibres were made into a fine cloth, as soft as the best linen. Treated with native dyes, the materials were woven by hand into the beautiful patterns that decorated the articles used in everyday life. Today we have adaptations of the same designs, woven from the same plant fibers. Maoris operate machines that make the designs that their ancestors had preserved through centuries of tradition. In the noise of a large factory, the machines beat to a rhythm that is far away from the slow handcrafts of the Maoris' ancestral arts, far from the domestic art of a Maori village. The tall, rustling plants, stretching over hundreds of acres, are now grown in orderly rows, are cultivated and scientifically developed, are crossbred and tested, and cut after so many seasons. The first Europeans in New Zealand, seeing the stripped fibres, called this New Zealand flax, and the name has remained. But this is actually a lily, and is no relation to linen flax. Its name is Phormium tenax, but it's grown in gardens all over the world as New Zealand flax. The cutting is planned so that each area is cut every 4 years. The cut rows will be gone over and the clumps divided to provide roots for new plantations as other areas are turned over to flax growing. The huge bundles of cut flax give the stripping mill the atmosphere of a forest, the workers moving among the green glades where the machines stand strangely in the clearings. In the stripping machine, the fibre is separated from the green matter by a mechanization of the Maori method of using a mussel shell. It's important at this stage to wash the fibre thoroughly. In the paddocks, fences of snowy fibre bleach in the sun and the wind. Spreaders fling the long fibres over the ground for good drying and bleaching. After several days, they'll be hacked to be sent to the factory. Flanks must be combed into a continuous sliver as the first stage in the preparation for spinning. A ribbon of fibre rolls endlessly off the machine. The toe or short ends go through a similar process in a different machine. In a series of machines, the combs become smaller and smaller, and so the sliver is drawn to the right size for spinning. It is given a wave set to stop the shorter fibres pulling apart. In the spinning room, there's a final combing process, and then the twist is given to the fibres, which turns them into yarn. As it's spun, it's wound on bobbins. Yarn for matting is dyed in a novel way. This continuous process was developed by the factory, and the machinery was made in New Zealand to their specifications. As the yarn passes in and out of the dye, it picks up the colour and then is wound over big steam-heated drums, where it's dried in the same continuous operation. One of the main activities of the factory is the manufacture of wool packs. Limited only by the available labour, this Foxton factory has the machinery to make all the wool packs required in New Zealand. With the present staff, it's making a third of our wool packs, which compete successfully in price and quality with the Indian jute packs. The manufacture of floor coverings is a recent development as a result of an order for gun mats for the Navy. This floor matting is sold as quickly as it can be made. Woven in various colours and widths, it can be used as runners or as an all-over floor covering. There is a variety of patterns. Some designs are from European sources, and some are of Maori inspiration, such as the diamond pattern, developed from its Maori predecessor. Maori art had a form and rhythm rarely found today. Their designs in flax had traditional significance, for in their art they surrounded themselves with symbols of their beliefs. They have left us patterns that far surpass many now used in industry, and designers could well turn for inspiration to the art of the Maoris. The patterns in flax.